This is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News. First, the highlights. Delta State government partners NDDC to improve Omadino Escravos project. Soludo shuns Biafra agitation. I beg your pardon. Amnesty condemns disruption of protest in Abuja. FG terminates Port Harcourt-Aba Highway contract. Osibanjo leads ECOWAS team to monitor election in Côte d'Ivoire. Messi speaks on Argentina's lose to Morocco. Singer John May Molo dies after eating poison meal. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborowori has reaffirmed his administration's readiness to collaborate with the Niger Delta Development Commission and Chevron Nigeria Limited on the ambitious Omadino Okerenkoko Escravos Road and Bridges project, describing it as a transformative infrastructure that will unlock the coastal communities of the state. Speaking during the inauguration of the NDDC state office in Warri, the governor said a tripartite meeting between the Delta State government, NDDC and Chevron would soon be convened to chart a clear roadmap for the project's commencement and gave the assurance that his administration was fully committed to seeing the project through, adding that Delta would not shy away from large-scale infrastructure capable of improving the lives of its people. He said the proposed tripartite partnership would not only fast-track the project's delivery, but also strengthen collaboration for sustainable regional development, and reiterated that his administration will sustain an open-door policy towards meaningful partnerships that translate into tangible progress for Deltans. Oborowori further said his administration's commitment to accountability, transparency, and cost-effective service delivery in all infrastructural projects across the state, and described the Omadino Okerenkoko Escravos Ogborodo corridor as a strategic investment in economic connectivity and peace building across the riverine areas. Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo has congratulated the Oba of Benin, Eware II, on the occasion of his birthday and 9th coronation anniversary. A statement on Monday in Benin by Fred Itoa, the chief press secretary to the governor, extolled the Oba's firm commitment to preserving the rich cultural heritage of the Edo people and his impactful leadership since ascending the revered throne of his ancestors. He described Oba Eware as a unique ruler whose reign had been characterized by peace, development, and a push for the unity and progress of the Benin Kingdom and Edo at large, and also prayed for the Oba's continued health, strength, and long life on the throne, while expressing his admiration for his wisdom, diplomatic finesse, and dedication to the welfare of his people. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has dissociated himself from separatist agitation in the southeast, insisting that the region's progress and prosperity are intrinsically tied to its units within the Nigeria Federation. The former Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN governor, expressed support for peaceful dialogue and the right to protest, but does not share the secessionist ideology espoused by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, stressing that the controversial sit-at-home order has largely lost traction in Anambra, attributing the change to improved security and public awareness. Soludo acknowledged that the IPOB leadership, including Kanu himself, had repeatedly disowned the sit-at-home directive, blaming criminal elements for exploiting it to unleash terror in the region, and affirmed his respect for democratic freedoms and also governance, not activism. The governor further said he had urged the Ohanese, Ndigo, and other Southeast leaders to engage Kanu in dialogue upon his release, adding that the future of the region should be shaped collectively, not dictated by any single individual. Over 610 soldiers from various Nigerian Army formations are currently attending the Nigerian Army Warrant Officers Promotional Training 2025 at the Federal Road Safety Corps Academy, Udi, Enugu State. The training, which spans 2 weeks, involves compulsory medical tests, physical drills, weapon handling, written tests, computer assessments, and for clerical personnel and oral interviews, among other evaluations. Speaking at the official opening exercise, the Chief of Personnel Management Army Headquarters, Major General Adewale Adekeye, warned participants against using hard drugs or performance-enhancing supplements, adding that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, appreciates their long years of service and commitment to the nation. He said the importance of fairness and merit will urge the Nigerian Army Warrant Officers Promotional Board members to be strictly objective and score high performance, and further describe the responsibilities of Nigerian Army Warrant Officers as enormous, adding that only the best candidates based on performance and merit will be selected. Lagos State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, has called on residents, community development associations, community development committees, and other stakeholders in Ojo, Badagry, Iba, Otowawori, Amuwo, Oreade, and Olorunda districts to ensure they obtain planning permits for all physical developments in their respective areas. Olumide made the call during an awareness program organized by the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority to sensitize stakeholders to the importance and social benefits of obtaining planning permits, both for individuals and the government. The commissioner said many structures cited on the right of way would be demolished once the government begins road construction in the affected areas, stressing that such losses could have been avoided if the owners had secured proper planning permits. Lagos State Police Command has assured residents in the state remains safe and calm in spite of reports of protest in some parts of the country. The State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olohundare Jimoh, who gave the assurance while addressing journalists during the show of force by the command on Monday in Ikeja, said the exercise was part of efforts to reassure residents of their safety and to demonstrate the readiness of the command to maintain peace and order across the state. He also said the command had made strategic deployments to all flashpoints where protests had previously occurred, including the Lekki Toll Gate, Ojota, Maryland, Gani Fawemi Park, and other key areas across the metropolis, adding that police formations across Lagos had been directed to send situation reports every 15 minutes to ensure real-time monitoring of events. He said so far, there had been no reports of unrest, disruption of traffic, or attacks in any part of the state, noting that areas like Ojota, Maryland, and Lekki remain peaceful with officers maintaining visible presence. The nationwide demonstration for the immediate and unconditional release of the IPOB leader is convened by human rights activist Omoyele Sowore and was endorsed by opposition parties, while the federal government alleges he advocated for Biafra's independence through controversial means, including inflammatory rhetoric on social media and Radio Biafra. There was pandemonium after some yet-to-be-identified gunmen stormed the military barracks in the Ojo local government area of Lagos State and shot dead a butcher identified simply as Ridwan. Eyewitnesses said the attack occurred around 8 a.m. in the Mami Market section of the barracks, and the assailants, numbering about 4, entered the busy market and fired several shots into the air and caused traders and their customers to flee in different directions. After the brief chaos, the gunmen reportedly headed straight to Ridwan's stall and opened fire on him multiple times, and Ridwan's meat store was seen to be located close to a corner in the market, and his absence also left the stall empty as other traders beside him went about their businesses. Meanwhile, there were speculations that the attack was carried out by suspected cultists, and when contacted, the spokesperson for the Lagos State Police Command, Agbimbola Adebisi, said she is not aware of the development, and the spokesperson for the 81 Division of the Army, Olabisi Ayeni, could not be reached. Kwara State Government has inaugurated two pressure swing absorption oxygen plants at General Hospital, Lafiagi and Thomas Adewumi Teaching Hospital, Omo Aran area of the state. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Amina El Imam, said during the unveiling that the oxygen plants were significant milestones in Kwara's healthcare journey, represented by the Assistant Director of Medical Laboratory Services, Alhaji Toyin Raji. The Commissioner said the plants would serve as regional hubs for medical-grade oxygen production, adding that the plants will ensure a steady and affordable supply of this essential life-saving resource to hospitals across the state, particularly in Kwara North and Kwara South senatorial districts. She expressed gratitude to the Global Fund for the generous support, describing the initiative as a testament to shared commitment to quality healthcare, and commended the Federal Ministry of Health, the National Agency for Control of AIDS, and the dedicated technical teams, as well as health workers who ensured the successful installation and testing of the plants. Mr. Kingsley Onoja, the Zonal Coordinator, North Central Oxygen, Federal Ministry of Health, who led the technical inspection and inauguration process, said the exercise involved testing all plant components, adding that the air compressor, PSA oxygen generator, booster compressor and filling ramp were also tested to verify oxygen purity and system efficiency. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has congratulated General Yakubu Gowon, Nigeria's former head of state, on his 91st birthday anniversary. A congratulatory message by Dr. Gyang Berry, the Director of Press and Public Affairs to the governor in Jos, described Gowon as a towering national figure and extraordinary peace builder, adding that his exceptional leadership played a pivotal role in preserving Nigeria's unity and sovereignty. Mutfwang, who extolled Gowon's remarkable leadership during the Civil War, commended his wisdom, patriotism, and diplomatic finesse, said as a military head of state, Gowon navigated the nation through challenging times and ensured it survived as one invisible entity. The governor said Gowon's post-Civil War declaration of no victor, no vanquished remains an enduring testament to his spirit of reconciliation and national healing, adding that the implementation of the famous Reconciliation, Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Program was instrumental towards rebuilding Nigeria's socio-economic fabric and rekindling the spirit of unity among her people. Joint Detachment of Defense and Security Operatives has forcefully dispersed the Omoyele Sowore-led Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest in the Maitama area of Abuja with tear gas canisters. This is coming after protesters, which included Sowore, Barrister Aloy Ejimako, and others, had gathered around the Nigeria Communications Commission (NCC) headquarters in Maitama, chanting "Free Nnamdi Kanu Now." They also cautioned the police for tear gassing them just before sounds of gunshots were heard, and they scampered to safety. Nigerian Army has confirmed the death of the commanding officer of the 202 Tank Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Aliyu Saidu Paiko, along with several soldiers, following a fierce confrontation with Boko Haram insurgents in the Kashmiri area of Bama local government area, Borno State. A statement issued on Monday by the Acting Director of Army Public Relations, Major Apollonia Anele, troops of Operation Hadin Kai successfully repelled the planned terrorist attack but suffered heavy casualties in the process. While some of the fleeing terrorists sustained gunshot wounds as forces maintained operational dominance, the Army spokesperson described the fallen officers as heroes who sacrificed their lives to protect the sovereignty and stability of Nigeria, assuring their legacies would never be forgotten. While the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, extended heartfelt condolences to the families of the deceased, describing them as fathers, brothers and sons who showed exceptional courage in the face of danger. Oluyede reaffirmed the military's unwavering resolve to sustain the offensive against all terrorist elements until lasting peace is achieved in the northeast and across the country, and also urged the public and media outlets to refrain from circulating images of the fallen soldiers until their next of kin have been properly informed in order to preserve their dignity and respect their families' privacy. About 250,750 children have been immunized against human papillomavirus, polio, measles, rubella, and other tropical diseases in Kaugama local government area of Jigawa State. The immunization officer in the area, Mohammed Tassiu, who disclosed this in an interview with newsmen on Monday, said the council area successfully immunized 99,213 children of ages 9 months to 14 years against measles, rubella, with 105% coverage recorded. It said 74,401 children of ages 0 to 23 months have also been immunized with novel oral polio vaccine, with success coverage of 102% recorded, while 735 children of ages 9 years were successfully immunized against human papillomavirus that causes cervical cancer. Zamfara State Chapter of the All Progressives Congress has dismissed reports that it is making moves to canvassing for Governor Dauda Lawal of the People's Democratic Party into the ruling party. A statement by its spokesperson Alhaji Yusuf Idris, Zamfara APC described the reports as false, unpatriotic, unprofessional, and fabricated, insisting that no committee had been set up to receive the governor into the party, adding that the APC had no reason to seek Lawal's defection, claiming that the governor's administration had performed poorly and lost the confidence of the electorate. The party spokesperson further said the PDP candidate in that by-election and many of his supporters had since defected to the APC, adding that the opposition's dwindling popularity was evident across the state, and also cautioned against the circulation of misleading reports by unpopular online platforms. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has recovered assets worth over 500 billion naira in the past 2 years of President Bola Tinubu's administration. Shettima made the disclosure while declaring open the 7th edition of a 3-day capacity building workshop for judges and justices, jointly organized by the EFCC and the National Judicial Institute in Abuja. According to the Vice President, the administration's policy of non-interference in the operations of anti-graft agencies has strengthened the fight against corruption and enhanced institutional accountability, adding that proceeds of recovered assets are being channeled into developmental initiatives, including the Students' Loan and Consumer Credit schemes. Reaffirming Tinubu's commitment to the rule of law, Shettima stressed that the administration does not shield political allies from investigation or prosecution, and urged members of the judiciary to discharge their duties with patriotism and integrity, warning that corruption spares no segment of society. He called for collective commitment among all arms of government to strengthen the fight against graft. Nigerian Senate has expressed deep concern over the growing safety lapses in the country's aviation sector, citing a recent incident involving an air-pissed aircraft at the Port Harcourt International Airport. This is coming after an air-pissed aircraft on the Sunday morning of July 13 had a runway excursion after landing at the Port Harcourt International Airport. And following the incident, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, in its preliminary report, indicted the pilot and co-pilot for taking hard drugs and alcohol, adding that toxicological test results conducted on the flight crew turned out positive. The test indicated the presence of alcohol in the system of the crew, while another crew member also tested positive for the active compound found in cannabis, colloquially referred to as Indian hemp, and the lawmakers were alarmed while expressing dissatisfaction with the development and further ordered an immediate thorough investigation into the matter. In an order paper, Senate Committee Chairman on Aviation Buhari Abdul Fattah, in a motion he sponsored, said no fatality was recorded from the incident, insisting that the findings expose serious deficiencies in airport infrastructure, pilot decision-making, and regulatory oversight. The Senate, however, stressed the need for immediate action, citing the importance of aviation safety to national security, economic stability, and Nigeria's aspiration to remain a regional hub for air transport in Africa. And in a motion urged the Federal Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, in collaboration with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, to swiftly implement all safety recommendations outlined in the NISB report. Nigerian Senate has called for the integration of mental health education into the national academic curriculum as part of efforts to address the growing psychological and emotional challenges facing students and educators across the country. The chairman, Senate Committee on Health, Senator Dr. Ipalibo Hari Banigo, who made the call Monday during a mental health program organized by the Mandate Health Empowerment Initiative in Abuja, the senator lamented that the growing trend of academic burnout, substance use, and emotional distress among students and teachers in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. She reaffirmed the Senate Committee's commitment to ensuring that every learner in Nigeria can thrive both mentally and academically, while outlining a series of measures to advance this goal. The event featured two flagship activities organized by MHEL, a National Students Parents Teachers Roundtable in Abuja, and a continental webinar, and both events focused on bridging education and mental health reforms. The National Roundtable, held at the Federal Ministry of Education Secretariat, brought together over 120 participants, including students from 5 secondary schools, parents, teachers, education officials, and representatives of NGOs to discuss strategies for promoting mental well-being in schools. The webinar, which further attracted 54 participants from 14 African countries, including Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and Uganda, expanded the discussion to regional reforms. House of Representatives is considering a bill to establish the Drivers' Welfare and Social Security Board to promote the welfare of drivers in Nigeria through the provision of social security, healthcare, pension scheme, and workplace protection. The bill, read for the first time on Tuesday, October 7, 2025, was sponsored by the member representing Oshodi Isolo 2 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, Mr. Jesse Onua Kalusi, adding that the bill aims to address the challenges faced by drivers, particularly those in informal sector, such as inadequate healthcare, financial insecurity, and unsafe working conditions. The proposed legislation also seeks to create a fund for the implementation of a welfare scheme for drivers in both the public and private sectors, adding that there is currently no database of professional drivers operating in the country. Even incentives such as health coverage are not covered in extant laws for those working in the private sector. The board will also register and maintain a database of eligible drivers across the country, develop and implement welfare schemes including healthcare, pensions, insurance, and training, among others, and also provides that the board shall be funded through appropriations by the National Assembly as 1% on vehicle licensing and registration fees as provided in the National Road Traffic Regulations. The board is also expected to access funding from grants, donations, and contributions from the public, private, and international sources, which, according to the proposed legislation, the board, when established, shall be under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Transport. Federal government, says President Bola Tinubu is working hard to fast-track the nation's development and improve security of lives and property. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who disclosed this in Bida, Niger State at the weekend, said President Tinubu has directed the security agencies to do everything possible to restore peace and stability to troubled communities across the country. The minister, who represented the president, spoke during the All Progressives Congress Niger South Senatorial District Zone A interactive session ahead of the November 1 local government council elections in the state, and urged Nigerians to remain optimistic and continue to trust in the government's reform agenda, noting that the economy was beginning to recover. Idris, who also serves as chairman of the campaign council for the forthcoming elections, said the event, which doubled as the inauguration of the campaign team, was scaled down in honor of victims of recent bandit attacks in Niger North, and the minister donated 100 million naira to the campaign council, with each of the 8 local government councils in Niger South Senatorial District receiving between 10 million and 20 million naira. Idris expressed confidence that the APC would emerge victorious in the coming polls, while urging party members and supporters to conduct peaceful campaigns devoid of violence or rancor. Security operatives comprising the police and army have blocked the Unity Foundation venue of the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest in Abuja. The protesters had converged at the nation's capital on Monday, demanding the release of the detained leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. This is coming after Kanu, the embattled IPOB leader, has been in the custody of the Department for State Services, DSS, since his rearrest in June 2021, while Omoyele Sowore, an activist and publisher of Sahara Reporters, had declared a protest march to the presidential villa on Kanu's continued detention. Police operatives were seen barricading the takeoff points of the protest, and the fully armed security operatives who patrolled the area also denied access to motorists and pedestrians, including all roads leading to the Federal Secretariat, and the 3 armed zones in the nation's capital were blocked. It was gathered that at the Utako area, a combined team of the army and police tear-gassed the crowd gathered around the Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ. Amnesty International Nigeria has raised alarm over reports of security forces attempting to suppress peaceful demonstrations in Abuja, where protesters are demanding the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra. This is coming after the Nigerian police force has defended its use of tear gas, stating security operatives only fired at protesters who were marching towards Aso Rock, where the presidential villa is located around the Maitama area, forcing commuters, traders, and motorists to run for safety. Reacting in a statement on its X handle, Amnesty International Nigeria condemned the actions, stating that any attempts to undermine freedom of assembly is illegal and reflects an unacceptable intolerance of peaceful protest, and called for an immediate end to the crackdown and urged authorities to address the protesters' grievances. Meanwhile, police, while defending its use of tear gas, also dismissed the report that it blocked the road, saying its men only cleared the area after protesters obstructed traffic. And in a statement via his X handle on Monday, the first spokesperson, Benjamin Hundeyin, said police's action was in line with the subsisting court's order restricting demonstrations in the certain parts of the city. The group argued that Kanu has been held by the State Security Service since June 2021, while facing trial for terrorism-related offences at the Federal High Court in Abuja, and the charges against him stem from his separatist campaign for an independent Biafra state, which authorities blame for the agitation for violence and killings across parts of the southeast. We'll go on a short break now, and when we return, we'll continue with the rest of the story. Stay with us.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date: Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue: Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time: 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer Management.
back and thank you for staying with us. Now to the rest of our stories. Nigeria's coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate, says the country's health policies must be shaped by the everyday experiences and needs of its people, adding that meaningful reform can only happen when the voices of local communities are at the center of decision making. Pate made the remarks on Monday during the 10th anniversary celebration of the Stella at Dadevo Health Trust and reinforce a growing consensus among health experts and policymakers that successful health reforms in Nigeria must prioritize inclusive bottom-up approaches. According to him, the means will engage youth, women, marginalized groups, and local leaders in health decisions to ensure policies are effective, culturally appropriate, and sustainable. Represented by the Director of Port Health Services, Nse Akman, he said a shift from top-down strategies to community-based approaches is essential for addressing Nigeria's diverse health challenges, adding that the voices of the youth, women, and marginalized groups must be included in national conversations on public health. Pate said the government would continue to partner with the private sector, civil society, and development partners to strengthen Nigeria's health security architecture, adding that health security was the collective responsibility of all Nigerians and also one that complacency could undermine the country's preparedness for future outbreaks. African Democratic Congress has suspended its national vice chairman, South, Dr. Osani, over what he described as actions capable of undermining the unity and progress of the party. The suspension, which takes immediate effect, followed deliberations at a meeting with the State Working Committee of the ADC across River State Chapter, held on Wednesday, October 15, 2025. Declaring the decision in a statement issued on Monday in Abuja, the State Publicity Secretary, James Otudo, said the committee found Osani's recent conduct to be in violation of the ABC Constitution and inconsistent with the party's core values, adding that the SWC examined multiple petitions alleging anti-party activities, insubordination to constituted authority, and actions deemed detrimental to the image and electoral fortune of the ADC. The committee also faulted the appointment of Ms. Jackie Wayas as Deputy National Publicity Secretary, citing lack of consultation with the Cross River leadership before her emergence, and further alleged that Wayas had shown little engagement with the state chapter since assuming office and questioned her loyalty to the party's unity in the South-South. The Cross River chapter further expressed displeasure over the conduct of certain individuals within the coalition movement who, despite publicly declaring for the ADC, had failed to complete their membership registrations, and also warned that the party would not tolerate or allow its platform to be used by politicians pursuing multiple partisan interests. People's Democratic Party National Working Committee has dismissed allegations of signature forgery raised by its National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, insisting that he personally signed the letter to the Independent National Electoral Commission, declaring the party's forthcoming November National Convention in the presence of state governors, NWC members, and others. PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunaba, while addressing the press conference on behalf of the NWC in Abuja on Monday, said Anyanwu personally signed several official letters, including the one notifying INEC of the party's convention scheduled for November 15 and 16 in Ibadan, Oyo State. According to Ologunaba, the letters were signed just hours before the 102nd National Executive Committee meeting held on August 25, and the signing took place in the presence of key party figures such as Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, Oyo State Governor Sheyi Makinde, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal, former Minister of Special Duties Tanimu Turaki, and former Senate President Bokola Saraki, among others. Ologunagba further said during the NEC meeting, Governor Bala Mohammed, who chairs the PDP Governors Forum, confirmed that all relevant letters, including the one to INEC, had been duly signed. Federal Road Safety Co. has announced the introduction of a contactless biometric capture system for driver's license issuance, marking a significant shift towards digitalization in Nigeria's Motor Vehicle Administration. The development came as the Corps launches its 2025 Ember Month Road Safety Campaign aimed at reducing road accidents during the busy festive period, and the campaign launched on Monday in Abuja is themed Tech Responsibility for Your Safety. Stop distracted driving on targets dangerous driving behaviors, often linked to increased crashes between December 15 and January 15. Speaking during the flag-off, Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed said the police license system would not only eliminate delays but also remove the need for temporary documents, while the contactless biometric capture with on-spot printing of the license will eliminate temporary licenses, thereby signaling the beginning of a digitalized one-stop shop for processing driver's licenses. The commercial also said the new system was developed in consultation with relevant stakeholders, including state governments, while licensing falls under a concurrent legislative list, adding that the system would fully integrate existing driving schools, vehicle inspection office, and certification processes, but with a faster and streamlined approach. He described the new contactless fingerprint system as seamless, saying it allows biometric data to be captured without physical contact. Using advanced technology that reads fingerprints from a short distance, and also enhanced its cooperation with state governments and agencies such as the VIO and state revenue boards to ensure seamless implementation of the new system nationwide. 36 states and 774 local government areas of the Federation have shared a total of 94.62 billion naira as allocation for the Ecological Fund between January and September 2002. This is coming after 238 Nigerians lost their lives to devastating floods that ravaged communities across the country within the same period, and tragic deaths recorded in several states despite the release of billions meant for ecological interventions to limit the risk of flooding situations, which underscore growing concerns over how effectively the fund designed to mitigate environmental disasters is being deployed. The Ecological Fund is a crucial part of Nigeria's federal revenue allocation, specifically designated to address various environmental challenges nationwide, including erosion, desertification, flooding, oil spills, and drought. The funds meant to support environmental sustainability and disaster management initiatives appear to have fallen short of their intended purpose, leaving communities vulnerable to recurring flood disasters. According to the 2025 flood dashboard released by the National Emergency Management Agency, no fewer than 409,714 persons have so far been affected by floods, with 826 sustaining injuries and 115 others reported missing. And the NEMA's flood reports showed that 47,708 houses have been damaged or destroyed so far in 2025, while about 62,653 hectares of farmland have been submerged, raising fears of flood, shortages, and loss of income among rural households. And now to our business news. Federal government has terminated the 43-kilometer Port Harcourt-Aba road contract being handled by China's Civil Engineering Construction Corporation over poor performance. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, said the decision followed the contractor's persistent failure to improve its work despite repeated warnings, which has led to the collapse of sections of the project despite huge funds already expended. Umahi will disclose this to newsmen shortly after inspecting the project, said the federal government will now engage a competent indigenous contractor to take over and complete the job, adding that several letters written to the contractor to maintain the road had gone unheeded. Umahi also said despite the termination, the company must mail out the binder already laid because it had been paid for, warning that he would shut down all their projects in Nigeria if they failed to comply, stressing that it was regrettable that contractors handling several federal projects could still deliver poor work. Into our international tidbits. Former Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has been appointed by the Economic Community of West African States to head its election observation mission for the forthcoming presidential election in Côte d'Ivoire. A statement from ECOWAS: the election is scheduled to be held on October 25, 2025, while the observation mission will be deployed from October 19 to 29, 2025, in accordance with the provisions of the ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. The regional body said the deployment of the mission underscores ECOWAS' commitment to promoting peace, stability, and credible elections across West Africa. The Côte d'Ivoire election comes at a critical time for the region, where several member states are preparing for key national polls amid efforts to consolidate democratic governance. UN's office in Yemen says Houthi rebels were still holding 20 of its staff following their raid on the organization's building in Sana'a a day earlier. The UN was in touch with authorities in Sana'a, with the relevant member states and the government of Yemen to resolve the serious situation as swiftly as possible, and detention to all personnel, restore full control over its facilities in Sana'a. The rebels had already stormed UN offices in Sana'a on August 31, detaining more than 11 employees. According to the UN, and the employees were suspected of spying for the United States and Israel. A statement by the UN Secretary and General Antonio Guterres spokesman Stephanie Dujarric said he is responding to rebel leader Abdel Malik al-Houthi and described the accusations as dangerous and unacceptable. This is coming after, since August 31, 2025, 21 UN personnel have been arrested, while 23 current and former members of international NGOs already detained, and another 10 years of civil war have plunged Yemen, while one of the poorest countries in the Arabian Peninsula, into one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. Mongolia's president has vetoed the dismissal of the country's prime minister on Monday, days after parliament had voted to remove him. This is coming after majority of lawmakers voted to dismiss Gombojav Zandan on Friday, after weeks of political fighting and a dispute over a policy that changed how mineral exporters are taxed. The premier is a member of the ruling Mongolian People's Party, along with President Ukna Kurelsuk, who blocked the sacking, and the parliament did not have a quorum when it began its session to vote on Zandan Shatar's removal. The president's office said the decision is invalid, while Mongolia's constitutional court has scheduled a meeting to discuss the president's veto on Wednesday. The prime minister took office in June after thousands of young people demonstrated in the capital Ulaanbaatar, venting frustrations at wealthy elites, corruption, and injustice. Zandan Shatar had faced criticism from lawmakers, including from his own party, over a major shift in mineral policy that would see exporters pay royalties based on domestic stock prices rather than international benchmarks used since 2021, which critics warned could hurt the national budget, and also drew fire for appointing a justice minister without notifying parliament, which MPs said was unlawful. And now to our sports news. Argentina legend Lionel Messi has sent a heartfelt message to the Under-20 team after they lost to Morocco in the final of this year's Under-20 World Cup. The Albiceleste are the current holders of the global crown at senior level and had been hoping to capture another in the youth ranks, while Messi himself won the FIFA World Youth Championship in 2025. However, Morocco took the 2025 title thanks to a brace from Yasser Zabrini, and Zabrini scored in the 12th and 29th minutes of the final to help Morocco become the first African country to win the Under-20 title since Ghana in 2009. Former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has dropped a big hint that he could return to the Premier League. The German has, however, insisted that he does not miss coaching, and Klopp left Anfield after 9 years in the summer of 2024. The 58-year-old, who was replaced by Arne Slot, cited fatigue as being one of the main reasons why he walked away from the dugout, and now works as the global head of soccer for Red Bull. Struggling Scottish Premiership giants Rangers has appointed Danny Rowell as their manager to replace the sacked Rochelle Martin. The Glasgow club at 6th in the Premiership with prime 9 points from 8 games 13 points behind leaders Hearts, while Roll, 36, led Sheffield Wednesday to a 12th place league finish in his only full season as the manager before leaving the troubled English Championship club in July. He had previously worked as an assistant manager at RB Leipzig, Bayern Munich, and the Germany national team. Martin, who previously managed Southampton, was dismissed after just 17 matches in charge. And now to our entertainment news. Ghanaian musician Laddsmith Nathaniel Owusi, popularly known as Laddsmith, has claimed that his country influenced the Nigerian music industry. Speaking in a recent interview, Laddsmith asserted that the Ghanaian music fans love Nigerian artists more than their countrymen, and also claimed that Ghana influenced Nigerian hit songs has sparked a fresh Ghana vs Nigeria debate on social media. This is coming after a few years ago there were debates over the two West African countries' music industries after Mr. Easy claimed that Ghanaian sounds influenced Nigerian music, while Mr. Easy received backlash and was almost cancelled by his Nigerian fans. Renowned traditional musician John Zuya, popularly known as John Maimolu, has died after allegedly eating poisoned food in Tafawa Balewa local government area of Bauchi State. Zuya, who recently returned from Lagos on October 16, 2025, after performing at several cultural events, reportedly began feeling unwell and collapsed shortly after eating the suspected meal. He was taken to the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi, where he was confirmed dead. This is coming after a fellow musician and close associate, Ima Wakili, confirmed his death in a Facebook post on Saturday, October 18, 2025, and his body has been deposited in the hospital's mortuary for autopsy as investigations continue into the cause